Hello guys, and welcome back to What If Deku had Era 4 Era powers. So let's get right into this part right after the door opened and everyone was shocked except for Deku, because he's not really that emotional. He just doesn't really care about you. He just really hates that he got into this mess. As everyone saw this, everyone was like, Mr. Aizawa! As he was all bandaged up. His face was bandaged, his arm was bandaged. She was like, good morning, class. And he was like, sir, are you sure that you're okay to teach today? And he's like, I'm fine. But we have a new student. I think you're seeing him today. Everyone knew who he is, because when he was knocked out, his skeleton form gave out because of his knockout. So he's like, come up and introduce yourself. As he stood up, he's still typing. He was like, I know that you're still there. Get up right now, or you're gonna be expelled. And he's like, he said, I don't mind being expelled, but you're probably gonna tell the principal, and he's probably gonna put them cuffs on me. I hate this. Alright then. Deku saved his work, and he went up to us and was like, my name is Azuka Majoria. But also people know me as, but some people like to, but I have an enormous name on the internet as well. Kashibaga was like, huh? Deku? How are you even here? You couldn't kill that thing. You're quirkless. Everyone was surprised, and everyone was surprised. And they were like, quirkless, but doesn't he have a quirk? If everyone was that thing, then you were straight. Azuka Midori said, Kashibaga, I was lying into you all this time. You actually did have a quirk. I just didn't bother telling you. I just wanted you to have I just didn't want to get in your way. Just don't really care about my quirk. If I told you my quirk, you would have made me come here. I don't really want to come here, so I just faked it. Everyone was surprised. Bucko was like, so you were looking down on me? And he said, wrong idea. I never said anything about looking down on you. But anyways, my quirk is called Era 404. It lets me do a lot of things. Like increase my strength, speed teleport, summon those blasters, control screen, manipulate stuff in a 500-mile radius, living or not living, and it also shows my soul that is blue. It also gives me this jet, the blue jet. Gives me like these clothes that are really cool as. I like to wear them sometimes in my human form, but it mostly helps my skeleton form. Like, what clothes? Then uraraka put her hand up, and he was like, yes. She said, do you mean that like blue and white cloak? But he said, yes. He snapped his fingers, and the clothes appeared on him, and everyone was like, wow. She asked, but where does it come from? And she said, I actually don't know. But it's probably a part of my quirk. But my quirk only activates if I go into my skeleton form, which he does. There's with the cloak and stuff around. He says, these clothes will stay on me when I use my quirk. I can't get them off unless if I can camouflage it. You can camouflage into anything if I want it to, so mostly I do. said, any more questions? And Yarosa put a hand up. He was like, yes. And Yarosa said, what is your anonymous name? Because she said that your real name is Zuko Midoriya, but some people call you different in an anonymous name. What is it? He's like, oh, my anonymous name is called Errorful Error. She was like, wait, do you mean that person that gives people money? Gives away his money and is actually very smart because of how much information that you have, and actually gives a lot of advice to use and stuff. Like you put it because of his information on the web that he adds onto the webs and some websites and his comments. And so I was working on a thing to gather more information from the villains and give it to the heroes. Everyone was shocked about this, and they were like, wow, before we meet him. Uraraka was very happy that he met him who helped the family. He was like, anyway, that's my introduction. And I was like, alright, now I've got another announcement. Deku started working on his work. He was like, are you even listening? Are you gonna listen, or are you gonna just stay on that computer all day? He said, the principal allows me to use this laptop to work on my things. So you can teach them. As long as I'm listening to you, I'm allowed to be on this. So just keep on explaining, I'm listening. And he's like, anyway, in 1 week's time, we're gonna have the sports festival, and they were like, everyone was excited, like yes. They were very excited about it, but he was like, be quiet. You know what the sports festival is for right? And Izuku was like, yeah, it's to be scouted by heroes and work at the agencies. It's mainly used to show off the quirks and show how strong the students are, so then the villains. So then you can actually see. What the students get into the school. As everyone was shocked about how much he knew about the sports festival. He was like, yeah, but it's also to show what your greatest strengths are and weaknesses to other quirks. But we're doing this, and Ida put her hand up saying, but what about the villains? And they might attack us at the sports festival. And he was like, that's why we're doing it, to show the villains that we're not scared of them, and to show how strong we actually are. So we better train. But anyway, it's time this guy's learning. After that, after the day, but after the lesson, it was lunch. They tried to get out, but everyone was blocking their way. And they were like, so you're the class that got attacked. And they were like, and everyone, then Bucko was like, move out of the way, extras. He was like, so don't get cocky because you got attacked by villains. All the other classes might be better than you, so don't get cocky. Because Kirishima was like, hey man, can you just get out of our ways? So he's like, Baku, but that's how Bakugo is. He's very cocky. As Zuko Midoriya was like, can you just get out of our ways so we don't want to go to lunch? As he saw him, he was like, are you new to this class? And he was like, yeah, I got stuck in this class because I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to be here anyway, but I got made to by the principal, so I got transferred here. Anyway, can you just move out the way so we can just get to lunch? And he was like, we're not moving until we're gonna move, but if we win this bus whistle, we're gonna show your class is not that very special by getting attacked by villains. And he's like, I don't care. Is Vin who's going towards the crowd, and it's like you better move before anything else happens. As he got past them and he went to lunch. And as everyone was training, Ezekiel didn't really train that much. All he did was work on programming, and then just put his interest in on helping people, or helping homeless people get better by giving his money to charity and giving money to people in need. The day of the sports festival, he wore his jewelry clothes, and his pocket go give the same speech as in the anime. Then the obstacle race came around. As everyone got ready, Zuko Midori was in the back, and I was like, here we go. I don't know what I should do. Teleport? Or just run there? Doesn't really matter anyways. It's the start. As President Mike said, start! As everyone started running. As so then he was like alright, and everyone just get started. As the hallway froze, and it was like, oh, we should have told Rookie starting off with freezing the hallway. And as everyone was stuck, Rookie was running ahead. As Coxie Bucker was like, as some of the Class 1A students actually got out of there. Everything was going like in the anime until Coxie Bucker and showed to the Rookie was fighting in the mine area until suddenly someone was very fast and blew a mine right in front of them and actually made it to the finish line, and he was like, the first one to finish is Zuko Midoriya. Everyone was confused because everyone was like, huh? But we didn't see him at all. Oh, basically, it was like, actually, I'm second. No, like, no, wait, what? And he said, look over there. She's been there the whole time. She walked in through it as soon as it started. She teleported to the end and stood there until you noticed it. She just didn't say anything because she didn't really care. As everyone was shocked, and he was like, wow, that's okay. As the results showed up, as uraraka was first, and Zuko Midori was second. Shototori Rookie was third, and Kaksibako was fourth. The teams on the anime was the same except for the uraraka was the horseman, and Zuko was one of the elders. But in this scenario, Forever just kept them, put a barrier up against them with bonds that was very hard to break through. Even so, the Rocky had trouble trying to break it. Yeah, as no one could see the break it. So then we go on to the matches. As it was the Zuko Midoriya versus Shinzo. Well, as he said, I hope we have a good match, and he was like, sure. As he was about to say sure, one of his classmates, Ojo was like, can I talk to you for a minute, Midoriya? As he told him his abilities, we skipped to the fight. It is sure that Roki told Zuko about his powers as well. As they were on stage, the match started. As minutes start, and then basically he started talking like You must have, you have a very powerful, you have a very powerful quirk, being able to get past everything and someone who's born very impenetrable. Without talking, suddenly he started to lift him up. Suddenly he started coming off the ground. Shinzo was like, what? How am I getting off the ground? As they saw his hand was glowing blue, as they saw he was a skeleton and had string going down his face, and he was like, just stop talk. As he put him outside the ring and was like, you must not rely on your quirk all the time. Maybe you should go into try and gain some combat experience and actually try and do something if your quirk doesn't work. As he walks away back into the stance, as Shinzo realized that he needs to actually not rely on his quirk that much. And then we go into Bakugo versus Uraraka. As everyone was depending on who's going to win in the Zuko area. I went into the room where Uraraka was before the match night and was like, hey, can we talk for a minute, Uraraka? And she said, sure. And he said, you know that Bakugo uses explosions, right? And she was like, yeah, it's kind of applied by his quirk. And he said, seeing your quirk it won't be very good with the explosions that he can send. You can manipulate the size of your knives, but so you should definitely keep your difference. Try and block it. And she was like, yeah, I know I should stay away and use knives from a distance. And he said, that's not the point. And he said, you have to make sure that he backs up so when he goes outside the ring. And she was like, yeah, I know that, but and then he said, if he gets up close and personal, try and punch him away. Try and punch him and try and get his back away. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for the advice, but I think I'll do fine. He was like, yeah, hopefully. He was very good friends with Uraraka as soon as he joined. He didn't. Uraraka was actually very good friend with him, and he was actually, Zuko was very happy to be friends with Uraraka. As Bakugo in Chaco's match started, and Chaco summoned knives and threw them at Bakugo used explosions to move around. He was like, you gotta try a bit of a net round first. Then she summoned a big knife to block the explosion that came in, and he was like, then the knife disappeared, and as knives came through the ground to hit him, he fired an explosion to move back. She kept on sending knives to him. Then he sent an explosion, but she moved out the way, and then she tried to punch him in the face, but then he dodged him and tried to send another explosion, send an explosion right into her face. But she was able to block it just in time, but took some damage. But then she kept on trying to send knives at him, and he kept on sending explosions until he had enough. So he flew up in the air and was like, howitzer impact! She tried to summon a big knife. She was able to summon a big knife, but the explosion was way too big, and it sent her out of the ring. And she was like, damn it, I wasn't strong enough. If I must find another way to beat him. She went back, and she was like, dang it. And Zuko was like, you did very great, Uraraka. And she was like, but I lost. But he said, but you did some great progress. You should know now that. But you know your strengths, right? He was like, no. Oh, I mean, he was like, you're very good at dodging, but you forgot to use your teleportation in the match. Don't worry. As the next match was about to begin, he stood up and was like, Anyways, what's next? Hopefully. Well, anyways, I'll see you after the match, uraraka. See ya. And she was like, why do I have this one feeling in my chest? Why want to go away? Why does he still believe in me? She didn't know what her feelings were as Zuko was getting ready, as his eyes were very light, as he closed his eyes and opened his eyes, as they started to flash a little bit blue. As he saw him definitely in the car, he was like, hopefully this match doesn't go that bad. Hopefully his son could give me a challenge. His endeavor was like, hopefully you give my son a challenge and make him use his fire. And he's like, I don't care about your drama. If you want your son to use your fire, you better do something about it, because I'm not helping. As he was about to walk out, and as he was walking to the stage, he was like, alright, it's time to get ready for this match. And that's where we're gonna leave it off right here. Yeah, if you enjoyed the series, please just watch it. If you like the series, please go back to part 1, because everything in the last part will explain why he didn't go to UA and why, and all this kind of stuff, and explains the Choco's abilities of Choco, and also the Zuko abilities and what kind of abilities he has. As some of them I didn't explain, some of them I didn't put in the video because I forgot about them, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed the series. Just watch it. I'm going to be posting some other parts of other series. I'm going to upload more parts of them, so I hopefully I'll do that. Also if you consider liking my stories, go into the channel and watch the other series if you haven't watched them. But anyways, it's Carry Up the Game, signing out.